Hey guys, it all started with a simple sketch with some key details. I like improvising while I sculpt instead of creating a finished design to replicate. I started by making the flimsiest armature in the world. It was my first time making one, don't judge me, okay? I'll try to do better next time. I covered it in a base layer of polymer clay and baked it. I used Super Sculpey Beige, which is quite a soft clay. I also always use Sculpey Bacon Bond when attaching the unbaked clay pieces to already baked ones or wire. For something like this, you should mount the armature into a piece of wood or just make it more sturdy in general. This was very unstable and kept falling over and over again. I had to fix stuff so many times just because of how bad the armature is. I wanted the monster to be buffed, so I made the arms and stomach quite muscular. I made some wire hands that I will attach later. Technically, I could have already added these to the base armature, but you saw what it looked like. It will fall apart. I also made some holes in the arms and back for more wire that I'll add later. I added small scale-like details to the arms because I wanted to bake it and the arm shape was already done. The back eyes turned out very different on both sides, so on the other uglier side, I actually gave him an eye scar to hide it. No one will know. I added more details here and there, but my camera is too poor to pick up the smaller ones. I covered the wires in clay and attached all the spiky pieces. I baked the hand skeleton and then added the fin parts? I'm not really sure what to call them. At this point, the monster had been baked like 3 times already, just so I don't ruin everything by dropping it again. I attached the hands with some bacon bond and then baked it once more. I performed some skin reconstruction and now it kinda looks like it's been in shackles its whole life. I gave it a nice six-pack and pecs to go along with the guns. Looks matter, even when you're a monster. I kept baking the monster after pretty much every section I would finish. The clay is not toxic, but it has a bit of a rubberish odor and my family weren't too happy after I baked it like 20 times. I also somehow managed to break its whole arm off after baking, but that was easy to fix. I added these Wayne-like details all around the mouth and also on the sides of the back. Added some teeth. It only gets 2 for now though. I made this skeleton looking spine thing on its back. I often start making one thing and then I don't finish it and I start working on something else. Especially if I have to make a pair of something. I'll make one and then do something else before making the other. Oh, so time for more teeth. These neck details also have wires in them, but somehow I managed to break them 2 times later on. Adding the fin things was actually quite an annoying process because they were just not sticking on, but they turned out pretty great. I wanted a little bit of its tail submerging out of the water, so I made this piece and detailed it just like the back. After too many times of baking it, it was finally done. I covered it in a black base coat of acrylic paint. I couldn't decide what color to go with, but I ended up with purple. I'll skip over how I painted the chest because I ended up repainting it later anyway. Sadly, my camera and lights are not the best, so you can't really see the highlights and shadows that well. You know what? My mic sucks pretty bad as well. I'd love to upgrade those when I get the chance. I went over the orange details with a darker reddish and a brighter yellow tone to create a gradient. The fin parts took like 20 layers of yellow, but we got there eventually. I also added a similar gradient to the fins. Some off-white color for the teeth. I later went over them with a darker yellowish tone to make them look more dirty and monster-like. I had previously made the chest blue because I just couldn't decide what color I want. Typical. I repainted it more purple with some softer lights and shadows. I wanted the highlights to have even more contrast, so I went over them with a lighter color. I covered the wood base in PVA glue and used some Fimo Airlight air drying clay to sculpt the base for the water. After drying, I painted the clay a dark greenish color and painted the wood black. I used a 2-part epoxy glue to glue the monster to the base. I mixed the transparent silicone with some paint thinner and covered the base in a thin layer. The thinner makes the silicone more runny and smooth, and I added some drips to the details. For the waves, I just used silicone straight out of the container, waited like 20 minutes for it to start curing, and then shaped it. I was going for a middle of a storm in the sea, big monster jumping out of water kind of vibe, so I made it really messy. I also added a lot of drips on the fins to mimic water splashing and dripping as it's emerging from the water. After drying, I added some white paint to the waves and covered the whole water part in Mod Podge to get it shiny again and also to smooth some of the water out. I also added gloss to the monster sometime later on. I'm not sure if I really like it being all glossy, but it just wasn't looking quite right being matte either, so... Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!